Okay, here we are. I came up with an idea after I did some testing on the Murloc system, and it has to do with these little sequencers. These things are slick as can be. They got the 3 different modes. You know, they got all fire, and then they've got a mode where every queue is the same delay between the queues. And then they've got a queue where you can, the first queue can be 1.2 seconds, and then the next queue can be 3.8 seconds from that. The next queue can be a half a second. The next queue after that can be a tenth of a second. Anyway, they're totally, it's really versatile. It's a great little sequencer. So I got to thinking, after I saw that Murloc, I thought, well, if you wanted to do a big mine run or a comet run, or any kind of a run, it's going to take you like a mile of scab wire with one of these, because you only have one of them. And it's going to be, the sequencer is going to have to be in the middle of the run, and then you got to run scab wire to all the other things. So I got to thinking, how come you couldn't put a DB25 output on the sequencer and run it like an ODA style system? So I got with Mike McCoy, and this time he actually didn't do the work for me. This time I actually did it myself, so I'm kind of excited that this works. I had him make the plates for me and send me some of the parts, and check this out. It's the same Kingdom sequencer. I'll do a side by side here. You can see that this sequencer, it's got the inputs and the outputs. Here we've got the inputs and the outputs. It's got the ports for your charger, if you end up doing an internal 12-volt battery on it. On-off switch. And then what you'll notice the biggest difference is there are no speaker terminals on this. The only way you're going to get this to work is DB25 cable. Because what I was thinking was, well, if I could run a DB25 cable out of this, and I only wanted to use it on one station, I'd just run a little 3 or 6 foot cable into an ODA slat, and then I use it like that. But if I want to use if I want to do a great big run, say on 3 stations or 5 stations, 50 foot apart, I can use the output here, go into an ODA series slat, run another slat from that one, and run another one from that one, and have a great big run of ODA series slats. So basically what you can do then is you can create huge fronts where normally it would take you a ton of scab wire, just using ODA slats and your cables if you already have an ODA system. Or if you don't, it's still cheap for the ODA slats, and the ODA cables we all know are dirt cheap from Monoprice. So I actually did the rebox myself. I'm kind of excited because it appears to work. I'm going to hook a slat up to it here in just a second. Now this system so far, since I've done the rebox, I do not have a 12-volt battery in it. I still have the standard 2 9-volt batteries. So I don't know if it's an 18-volt output or if it is 9 or how they wire it in there. I don't know if it's 18 volts on the output or not, but I'm going to throw some talons on an ODA slat and I'm going to give it a shot. We'll be back in just a minute. Okay, here's what I got. I got, of course, the sequencer. It's got the DB25 cable coming out, going into the standard ODA slat. This is a standard slat, it's not a series slat. I'm just going to try it out with some talons. I got 5 of them. What I've done is I plugged one into every other even number. So I got them in 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. I've got the delay set 1 second apart. And to trigger it, you can trigger one of these with anything. You can trigger one with a 9-volt battery, one of these, any little single shot system. If you're using a Dewey, all it takes is anywhere from 6 to 30 volts, a pulse, and bam, it starts going. So I'm just going to use the little CP12 because I got it handy. So I'm going to turn it on. It's going to go Okay, see, we can see there, then it looks like we didn't have continuity on Q number 2, because on the self-check, it showed an error on 2. Yeah, so let me, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yep, so we got continuity on everything else. Let me fix Q number 2. I'll be right back. Okay, well, I checked it out, and I did have a bad Talon on Q2. So the way that you check that on these systems is it runs an error code for anything it doesn't have a continuity on. So when you start it, if it does have continuity on all 10 Qs, all you'll have is E11, because it counts this output down here as Q11. Once it runs through 1 through 10, it'll send a pulse to Q11 to get the next sequencer going if you have more than one of these that you're wanting to run off of each other, because you can run an input, which is going to be your voltage to start the sequence, and then the output you can run to another sequencer to get that one going too. So if you do have continuity on all 10 Qs, you're going to have all it's going to show is E11. Here we want to see E1, E3, E5, E7, and E9 and 11, because we have 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 on the slat. 7, 9, 11. Okay, now it's going to show this D1, which means that we've got a different Q, or a different time sequence. It's not the all fire. And so I'm going to go ahead and arm this system. We've got a good connection between this system and the sequencer, and I'm just going to show these Talons here, and hopefully we'll see 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 fire. We fire in 3, 2, 1. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So they all worked perfectly. And then the system shows a sleeping screen, because they did that on purpose to save energy. So the next thing I'm going to try, now that I know that I've hooked this up right and everything works internally, I'm going to try doing some series stuff and seeing how the 18 volts are going to work versus a 12 volt, the regular batteries that we normally use, that I normally use in this stuff. I want to see how the 18 volts will compare, because if 18 volts will get me to pop a match on, pop one match on each station on 5 stations 50 foot apart, I don't think it's going to, but if it does, I won't even put a 12 volt battery in it. I'll leave the 18 volts in it, and anytime I use it, I'll throw 2 new ones in it, and that'll be it. I'm going to grab a couple series slats, and I'll be right back. Alright, what I did this time is, we got to keep in mind here, we're using Talons and not E-matches. It's a lot harder to pop a Talon. I'm just kind of trying to gauge what we're looking at as far as power once we start running slats in series. Again, I'm not using a 12 volt battery in here. I've got the standard 2 9 volt batteries that the system calls for when you first get it. So I've got the 2 9 volt batteries going into the first series slat. So that one going into the second series slat, and that one ending up on a standard slat. I've got all 3 Talons right here so we can see them real easily. And we'll turn the system on. Let's check continuity. Hopefully, I've got these plugged into, let's see, slat number 3. So hopefully we'll see 1, 2, 4. E1, E2, E4. Okay, so that means we don't have an error on Q number 3. We should be good to go. So I'm going to trigger this system in 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think we popped 2. Let's see here. Okay, on that test, we popped 2 of the 3 Talons. Now, I don't know if I mentioned or not that I've got 50 foot of cable here and 50 foot of cable here. So we've got 100 foot of cable here. I'm going to try again with E-matches and see how much better we do with E-matches. So we know that if you're using non-pyrogen igniters, 9 volts, you know, are not going to be, it's not going to be the best, your best option there if you've got the 2 9-volt batteries in there. Maybe look into, you know, doing the external power source, throwing a 12 volt on there, or just, you know, if you can get any matches, try that. So I'm going to throw some matches in here. We'll be right back. Okay, so we just saw that with 100 foot of cable out there, it won't pop 3 talons, it'll pop 2. So with my ultimate goal in mind here, which is to pop at just 1 match on 5 stations, 50 foot apart, I got 5 slats here wired in series. This looks like a hell of a mess, but it's really just a match wire. I got 200 foot of cable here, and I've got my matches in this glass here so they don't throw sparks anywhere. We'll try it and see what it does. Like I said, if it'll pop the 5 matches with the 2 9-volt batteries, I'm not even going to mess with the 12 volt. If it won't, I'm going to have to grab a 12 volt and put it in there for the internal battery. But if it will, then I won't have to mess with it. So I don't know. The only way to find out, we'll test continuity here real quick. We should see. I've got these all on Q. Let's see, number 4 here. So we should see 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 5. I'm just going to run through the error. Turn that on. And I'm going to go ahead and try it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let's see. Look at that. It did it. Oh, that's good news. Look at that. Popped 5 matches with 200 feet of wire out. That's 5 stations, 50 foot apart. I did it with the 18 volts. That is good news. That means that I do not have to figure out how to get a 12 volt battery in this little 120 case. Wow, I'm happy about that. So that's just, I wanted to show you guys this. I think, like I said, I got the panel from TRM Pyro, Mike McCoy. I couldn't be happier with it. I put everything together myself. I'm amazed that it works. And hopefully this year, you know, I got 3 of these. I reboxed the 1. I got 2 more to go, and then hopefully this year I can really do something cool with them. So we'll be back. Okay, after I popped those 5 matches, I wanted to check real quick and see what the voltage was at the very last slat. It looked like it was about 12 or 13 volts still, all the way by the time I got to the last slat. So I jumped Q number 5 on all of the slats. So we should have juice going all the way till the end. I stuck the voltmeter in there, and I'm going to give it a shot here. It's not going to show continuity because the voltmeter is kind of showing like an open reading, but it will register here. So here we go, and again it's on Q number 5. Here we're going 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That spiked. It went to about 13 volts, which is pretty impressive, really, to me, to see that you still got that kind of juice at the end of the line. I don't know how many amps you got. You know, obviously you don't have enough to do matches or talons, but boy, am I excited about this sequencer. You know, you'll be able to do cool fronts, and you don't have to run 1,000 feet of scab wire. You know, all you got to have is just your 5 slats and 4 50-foot cables or 25 footers, however many you want to do, however wide you want to make your slats. I'm not even going to test any more, you know, any farther than 50 foot apart, because I'm not going to do any fronts. You know, 5 stations 50 foot apart is about as big as I'm going to go. So again, we're really excited about this Rebox, and I don't know, you guys let me know what you think.